Hi everyone, Miss Limon here. Man, things are so crazy right now and so unpredictable. But we want you to know from Miss Cavazos and I that we miss everyone terribly. Now, during this time, I want everyone to consider this as a gift of time. Time to spend with your family and time to really get to cherish your parents and your siblings. And before you know it, we're going to be back together in school. But until then, I am happy to tell you that AR is now available to you at your homes. And the best part about it is that you don't need a moderator password, meaning that all the books that I hope to read to you, you'll be able to test, or books that you have at home, or just different books you have laying around that you read. Now, I want to bring some of my favorite stories to you, and these books are all different grade levels, and they will range between half points to full points. So the first book that I want to highlight today is Rufus Goes to School. This book is half a point, but it's a super fun read about a little friend that ends up in school and really has to understand the most important reason to go. So our author is Kim T. Griswold, and it's illustrated by Valerie Gorbachev. It looks like a really fun read. Just by looking at the picture, I see that there's a pig. I'm going to use my background knowledge and from what I can see here to infer that maybe this pig's going to go to school. I'm turning it over to the back and I'm seeing a class picture. So I can also infer that maybe this pig has a lot of friends. So let's begin. Rufus Goes to School. And if you like this book so much, it belongs in my library, so when we come back to school, you can read it too, by yourself. But here we have our little pig friend. He is basking in the sun, having a great time. We go again to another title page, Rufus Goes to School. Every day, Rufus Leroy Williams III turned the pages of his favorite book. He looked at every picture. He made up stories to go with them, but he could not read the words. Wow. So he has a great imagination, but he can't read. What do you think's gonna happen? Where do you think he needs to go? Rufus knew just what to do. He would go to school and learn to read, but first he needed a backpack. So there is Rufus, and he is getting his backpack to prepare himself to go to school. Early the next morning, Rufus scuttled down the street to school, and he peeked through the front door. I really like how the author used the word peeked. He could have said looked, but million-dollar words aren't always the biggest, longest words. Sometimes they're just another way to say it. Then he trotted down to the hall to the principal's office. He was greeted by the principal's secretary. Principal Lipid's secretary knocked on his door. "There's a pig to see you." Rufus stepped forward. "My name is Rufus Leroy Williams III, he said. "I have a backpack and I am ready for school." The principal shook his head. "No pigs in school." "Why not?" asked Rufus. I wonder why they're not going to let Rufus go to school. "Because pigs track mud in the halls," said Principal Lipid. "They turn their drawings into airplanes, they play leapfrog in class, and they start food fights in the cafeteria." I wonder if Rufus is going to be mischievous, like the way that they're saying he would be. Rufus frowned. "But I have a backpack." "Makes no difference," said Principal Lipid, and he showed Rufus to the door. Rufus Leroy Williams III really wanted to go to school, and he knew just what he needed. A lunchbox. So I can infer through the character relationship in this story that Rufus is feeling very sad, but he's still optimistic, which means he's hopeful because he thinks that he can solve his problem. Right before lunchtime, the principal poked her head into Principal Lipid's office. The secretary poked her head. "The pig is back," she whispered. My name is Rufus Leroy Williams III, and I have a backpack and a lunchbox, and I am ready for school. The principal folded his arms. No pigs in school. Why not? Said Rufus. So we have to give it to him that this pig is very persistent. Because pigs knock over the block tower, said Principal Lippet, and they hide under the teacher's desk. Pigs draw stick figures on the chalkboard. He wagged his finger at Rufus, and they chased their classmates during recess. But I have a backpack and a lunchbox, Rufus frowned. Makes no difference, said Principal Lippet, and he waved Rufus out the door. Rufus Leroy Williams III really wanted to go to school, and he knew just what he needed. A blanket. Maybe he needed a blanket. During nap time, the secretary opened Principal Lippet's door. Sir? Rufus Leroy Williams III rushed past her. I have a backpack, a lunchbox, and a blanket, and now I am ready for school. The principal signed. I told you, no pigs. Wait, said Rufus. I wonder what we're waiting for. I will never blow bubbles in my milk or finger paint my classmates. I will not stand on my head during nap time or leave nose prints on the window, and I will come to school every day. Sorry, the principal shook his head. No pigs in school. But I have a backpack, a lunchbox, and a blanket. Is that all? Said the principal. Rufus frowned. What else could he need for school? I have this. Rufus held up his favorite book, and I want to learn to read it. Ah, Principal Lippet smiled. That makes a difference. He escorted Rufus out of his office and down the hall. So he showed him his favorite book. This is Rufus Leroy Williams III, Principal Lippet announced as they entered the classroom, and he will be joining your class. Hooray! Shouted the boys and girls. Rufus Leroy Williams III put away his backpack, his lunchbox, his blanket, and his favorite book. He was ready for school. So those are all his classmates welcoming him. Rufus loved learning the ABCs, especially the letter P. I wonder why. He loved learning the 1, 2, 3s. He loved lunchtime and nap time. Those are all the activities he enjoyed doing at school. But Rufus loved story time most of all. That reminds me of Miss Limon when she is telling a story that's probably off task and everybody comes wanting to hear a history story, because that's usually what it looks like. And he loved story time because it gave him room to dream. Because when we read books, it takes us to the most awesomest, wonderfulest places. And that's Rufus after his day at school. So I hope you enjoyed this book. It's Rufus Goes to School. It is a red dot, which means that this would be level 2.6, and it is 0.5. This is the AR number should you need it. It is 160768. I'll go ahead and I'll put that in the comment that I will leave with this video. I hope to be doing as many books as I possibly can during this time. I have quite a few. I hope that you all continue to stay safe. Spend time with your family. Enjoy this time you have, and I'll see you really soon. Thanks, guys.